We now begin the academic year 2020 National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies or GRIPS Spring Diploma Presentation Ceremony.
Conferment of degrees. First is for doctoral program. GRIPS Global Governance Program, G-Cube. On behalf of Director Takahashi, the Secretariat is going to read out the name.
We have 6 graduates from the GRIPS Global Governance Program, G-Cube, receiving the degree. I will now call the names of the graduates. Toriskon Suarakiat, Thailand. Egami Hiroyuki, Japan. Churapon Charempon, Thailand. Takeda Asami, Japan. Mbifi Anthony Muangagi, Kenya. Tariera J. Tristan, Philippines. This concludes the roster of graduates of the GRIPS Global Governance Program, G-Cube.
Policy Analysis Program. On behalf of Director Monroe, the Secretariat is going to read out the names of graduates.
We have 1 graduate from the Policy Analysis Program receiving the degree. I will now call the name of the graduate. Ivord Rafael Edem, Ghana. This concludes the roster of graduates of the Policy Analysis Program.
Public Policy Program.
We have 2 graduates from the Public Policy Program receiving the degree. I will now call the names of the graduates. Abdul Wahid Fajar Amin from Indonesia. Krisani Pishispakun from Thailand. This concludes the roster of graduates of the Public Policy Program.
Policy Professionals Program. Director Iyo, please. We confer a degree to graduates of Policy Professionals Program. Minoru Monozumi. Soa Tatsuro. This concludes the roster of graduates. Conferment of degree for doctoral degree by thesis only.
We have 3 persons receiving the doctoral degrees by thesis only. I will now call the names. 論文博士に学位を授与します。Pandya Ganesh Prasad from Nepal. Kotaki Akira.
はい。
室田哲夫。
This concludes the roster of doctoral degree by thesis only. Master's Program. Public Policy Program, Regional Policy Concentration. Director Takada. We confer a degree to the graduates of Public Policy Program, Regional Policy Concentration. Azuma Takuya. Osugi Shogo. Koyama Sachiko. Shizuka Yusuke. Shinbo Keiko. Takamori Keita. 田島ゆりえ、田中俊之、田村遥、中島学、羽石健二、古田昭久、矢田部隆樹、山本浩平。This concludes the roster of graduates. Public Policy Program Cultural Policy Concentration. Per Kakiuchi. Here confer a degree to the graduates of Public Policy Program Cultural Policy Concentration. Takagi Shohei, Nakahara Souichi, Matsuda Kazuhiro, Yamoto Ayumi. This concludes the roster of graduates. Congratulations. Public Policy Program Infrastructure Policy Concentration. Professor Ieda. We hereby confer a degree to the graduates of Infrastructure Policy Concentration. Ishihara Yoshiki, Urushima Akihiko, Onishi Ryo, Machijima Yosuke, Morishita Yuya. We confer a certificate of credit for those who earn credits from Infrastructure Policy Concentration who belong to 1 year and 3 months course. Akutsu Tomohiro, Okabe Shota, Kubota Soichi, Shioda Ayaka, Arasawa Yoko, Fukuda Yuki. This concludes the roster of graduates and people who earn credit from the concentration. Congratulations. Public Policy Program Disaster Risk Management Concentration. Director Takeda. We hereby confer a degree to the graduates of Public Policy Program Disaster Risk Management Concentration. Ashimura Ryota, Arai Takafumi, Otake Kazuki, Omagari Shinnosuke, Kodoji Haruka, Tashiro Manabu, Danzuka Koga, Tobishima Yoriko, Nikaido Shin, Mitsumori Yuki, Moroka Takumi, Yamamoto Yuki. This concludes the roster of graduates. Congratulations.
Next is a Public Policy Program, Healthcare Policy Concentration Program. Director Ono. Healthcare Policy Concentration on the Public Policy Program. I will confer the diploma on the following graduates: Abe Kaori, Kumagai Yoshihiro, Tonegawa Jun. So that concludes the roster of graduates. Next is the Public Policy Program, Agriculture Policy Concentration course. On behalf of Director Oguchi, the Secretariat will read out the roster. We hereby confer the diploma on the graduates: Onari Shinobu, 金村俊。東瀬義孝。This concludes the roster of 3 graduates. Next is Public Policy Program International Cooperation Concentration Course. Professor Nakagaki. Public Policy Program International Cooperation Concentration graduates will be conferred upon the diploma. Nagahara Ryota. This concludes the roster of 1 graduate. Next is the Public Policy Program Open Concentration Course. Director Masuyama. Public Policy Program Open Concentration Course graduates will be conferred upon the diploma. Kaneko Nanae. Tanaka Toshimitsu. Masuda Mitsumasa. Yoneda Koichi. This concludes the roster of 4 graduates. Next is the Urban Policy Program. On behalf of Director Fukui, the Secretariat will read out the roster. Urban Policy Program. Well, so we hereby confer the diploma on the graduates. Ezoe Sei. Okamoto Sakiko. Shibata Takeki. Takubo Shigeki. Nomura Yuta. Higeta Hiroshi. Morishita Shogo. This concludes the roster of 7 graduates. Lastly, Science, Technology and Innovation Policy Program. Director Hayashi. I hereby confer the diploma on the graduates of this program. Kasai Hidekazu. Tokue Moe. So this concludes the roster of 2 graduates.
Next is Dean's Award. Masuyama Sensei, please. This is to commend students in master's program of GRIPS for their outstanding achievement and their proven excellent analysis ability in their master's thesis writing. Public Policy Program, Regional Policy Concentration, Shizuka Yusuke. Public Policy Program, Cultural Policy Concentration, Takagi Shohei. Public Policy Program, Infrastructure Policy Concentration, Onishi Ryo. Public Policy Program, Disaster Risk Management Concentration, Tashiro Manabu. Public Policy Program, Healthcare Policy Concentration, Tonegawa Jun. Public Policy Program, Agricultural Policy Concentration, Onari Shinobu. Public Policy Program, Open Concentration, Yoneda Koichi. Public Policy Program, International Cooperation Concentration, Nagahara Ryota. Urban Policy Program, Morishita Shogo. Science, Technology and Innovation Policy Program, Kasai Hidekazu. This concludes the conferment of Dean's Award.
We have President Tanaka's address. President Tanaka. For those of you who have completed the master's program on the doctor's program and those who acquired doctorates bestowed for qualified dissertations, congratulations on the acquisition of your diplomas. For those who have been awarded a master's degree or doctor's degree, I believe you are proud of what you have achieved. I'd like, along with all the related people in the community called GRIPS, National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies, to congratulate you on your achievement in the graduate program. There is one thing I'd like to announce to you on behalf of GRIPS before I convey my message to you. That is, the second GRIPS SDGs Award winner. As you know well, the first GRIPS SDGs Award ceremony was held on October 12th last year, and Mr. Muhammad Sajjad Mughal, the winner of the award, made a speech. This year, we invited entries for the SDGs Award from the GRIPS alumni. There were many entries this time as well. After careful screening by the GRIPS faculty members, we are now able to announce the second GRIPS SDGs Award winner today. The winner this time is Dr. Anwar Sanusi of Indonesia. Dr. Anwar Sanusi acquired a master's degree from the Policy Science Studies of Saitama University, the predecessor of the present GRIPS in 1998, and a doctor's degree from GRIPS in 2007. Dr. Anwar Sanusi is currently serving as Administrative Vice Minister of the Ministry of the Villages Development of the Disadvantaged Regions and Transmigration. He leads and implements the National Project for Infrastructure Improvement and Job Creation in the poverty-stricken region, which became the object of the award. I'd like to express my appreciation to the large number of GRIPS alumni members who made entries for the award, and I extend my congratulations to Dr. Sanusi. We will call for entry into the SDGs Award in the next academic year as well, so I'd encourage those who are completing the programs today also to actively participate in the award. Graduates. Those who are completing the one-year master's program have spent 1 year at GRIPS in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Almost all the classes were held online in the spring semester. I highly respect your having produced excellent research results despite significant restraints. Those who are completing the 2-year master's or doctor's program probably did not expect the global crisis we are now experiencing to strike our life at all when you entered GRIPS, I suppose. I think that there must have been various constraints at the last stage of putting together your research results in your master's or doctoral thesis when you were hit by the pandemic. Some of you may not have been able to conduct a field survey or may have faced a difficulty of gathering materials and data. Despite all that, you have acquired diplomas after careful academic screening. I'd like to pay tribute to your contribution to academic circles and society. Even though such major constraints were imposed upon you due to the pandemic, I also think that you must have spent a very precious time at GRIPS. After studying or gaining life experience to a certain extent, you spent more than a year to advance your studies and put together your theses and papers in an unusually concentrated manner. I believe this experience will certainly become a foundation for your future activities. Your research gathered evidence of high reliability and validity to the extent possible and was conducted according to the most appropriate methodology. While digesting previous studies, you try to get to the true picture of the reality by scrutinizing a number of hypotheses you find promising, using your own judgment, and comparing them with data and historical materials. I believe you pursued objectivity until the last minute to find out what policies would be effective and tried out a valid causal inference. Needless to say, when you focused on your study and research, the Japanese society as well as the world was in crisis. while devoting yourself to your study, I believe you are looking sideways at how your organization back home, related people, friends, and senior members are going through such a tough time in each of their posts and place. In the current pandemic, there was no established methodology as to how accurate information can be gathered and how limited information available can be analyzed. So your senior members, co-workers, and friends who are involved in policy making in their field had to do their day-to-day work in the situation where it was not possible to gather accurate and systematic information and evidence. The field of policy decision-making is full of uncertainty. What is sought in that field appears to be not so much scientific argument as judgment and decision. Then, is your experience with GRIPS not going to be useful in the field? I am confident that it is not the case. It is because there is no inherent difference between the way in which you conducted a scientific research and the judgment and decision-making in the field under uncertainty. It is because required academic research in university essentially concerns judgment and decision-making under uncertainty. Even when you dig deeply into previous studies, you cannot study all the previous studies. Even when you gather data and historical materials, it is impossible for you to gather all the data and historical materials. Any fruit of research is merely a hypothesis in its essence that has not been proved to the contrary yet. Having said that, however, realistically speaking, there is a significant difference between academic research and the judgment and decision-making in the field of policy making and implementation, that is, time. In the field of policy making and implementation, it doesn't follow that it is fine to take as much time as you want to come to a conclusion by spending as much time as you want to gather information. What must be decided today must be decided today. It is, however, not inherently very much different from your research. When it comes to your master's or doctor's thesis, for example, you did not put it together by spending time indefinitely. 1 year is a very long time as compared with a job that has to come to a conclusion each day, but it is not such a long time if you try to gather appropriate data. Even in the case of a master thesis, data selection, variable selection, and method selection all relate to judgment under uncertainty. The difference between your doctor's or master thesis and the judgment and decision-making in the field is that you are able to do research at GRIPS more slowly in relative terms than the field of policy decision-making. I think this slow process is extremely important. Even in competitive sports that require agile movement, great players sometimes review their form by taking time. In order to make an appropriate decision when you don't have time, it is important to train that process by taking time. You cannot do quickly what you cannot do slowly. I think it can be safely said that your concentration and research results at GRIPS were the special training for policy decision-making in the field. Hopefully speaking, the pandemic will be contained going forward. It is, however, highly possible that there will be serial crises full of uncertainty in the process of containment. I understand that many of you will go back to such a field of high uncertainty. I am confident that the special training at GRIPS has equipped you with an enhanced sense of judgment and decisiveness. I really hope that you'll be very active in your country as well as in the world. With that, I will end my speech.
Valedictory speech. Public Policy Program, Disaster Risk Management Concentration, Ashimura Ryota. I would like to extend my gratitude for holding this graduation ceremony today for us who are graduating. Let me express our deepest appreciation to the President, the faculty members, and all of you who have contributed in carrying out the ceremony. I would also like to extend my gratitude to President Tanaka for your very encouraging message that you delivered earlier. On behalf of the graduates, please allow me to extend our appreciation and aspiration for the future. Many of us were admitted to GRIPS after gaining practical experience in administrative agencies and companies. We temporarily left our job and we have been given opportunity to be engaged in broad academic policy research, which has been an extremely valuable experience. Let me take this opportunity to express our appreciation for our colleagues at work who agreed to dispatch us to this program. I was dispatched from Nara Prefectural Government to Public Policy Program Disaster Risk Management Concentration and received guidance from the faculty members who are the leading experts in respective policy discipline. I strongly recognize the importance to have broad, global view and specific localized point of view when thinking about policies, the importance of learning from the past and looking out at the future when working on policies. I learned about disaster risk management challenges faced by our government in comprehensive and professional manner, including rehabilitation from the Great East Japan earthquake, preparation for the Nankai Trough earthquake and Tokyo inland earthquake, and crisis management policy against pandemic. In my master's thesis, taking Yamato River and Nara Prefecture area as a model, I studied basin-wide flood control, which becomes increasingly important going forward. Writing a thesis was extremely challenging, but owing to cooperation from many people and guidance from the faculty, I was able to make an effort to organize my awareness of problem as a policy research project. For me, this past year has been an opportunity to try new things, struggle, think hard, and reflect on myself. It has been fulfilling, and when I look back, it has gone by so fast. Meanwhile, due to the sudden emergence of COVID-19, our lifestyle has changed drastically in the past year. Even in a difficult situation where a lot of activities were restricted, everyone from Japan and around the world was there to support me. Our bond, which only became stronger during the COVID-19 crisis, is now a precious asset of my life. Today we graduate from GRIPS. But this is not a goal, it is just a new starting point. With pride as alumni of GRIPS, and as professionals of policy, and as pioneering leaders, we are determined to make the utmost effort to tackle difficulties, overcome crises, and lead the Japanese society in the future. Last but not least, I would like to express my deepest appreciation once again to the faculty members who have guided us with passion, staffs who have supported our life on campus, all of you who worked with me and encouraged me, my family who have always supported me, and my colleagues at work who allow me to take this valuable opportunity. I would like to close by sincerely wishing for further growth of GRIPS and happiness and success of all the guests present today.
With that, we'll conclude the academic year 2020 GRIPS Spring Diploma Presentation Ceremony. Thank you very much for your participation despite your busy schedule.